Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Elevate Life YouTube channel. I am your host, Jirla Prevlon. If you are new here, I just want to say welcome and thank you so much for joining the conversation, for showing up. On this show, we focus on the stories of women, their traumas, their joy, their pain, and how they have triumphed over and over again. We also look to see how women have integrated Jesus and therapy into their healing journey. And so we are continuing to go through a series called Starting Over Again. Basically, after you have experienced loss, trauma, grief, pain, and suffering, how do you start over again? How do you start over again? So, our guests lately have just been talking about their journeys, and I have loved these conversations. Now, one of the questions I often get is, why do you focus on women? So today I wanted to pause to talk about women and my love for women, my admiration for women, why I have been very intentional about focusing on women. So let me tell you a little story. I was born in Haiti. I grew up in Haiti and I was surrounded by women, the stories of women all around me. My mom left just when I was a few months old. You know, the story says I was maybe a year. I don't know. It was before I understood that she was my mom. Let's just say I was that young. My very first memory of my mom is when I was 10 years old. That's when she came back from the US to visit so that we can go to the America with her, right? And so that's my first memory. So she left when I was very young. So I was left at the care of my grandmother, my auntie, um, and some of the other women in the neighborhood. The more I sit and the more I think about my time in Haiti and my upbringing in Haiti, I see the women. I remember the women. Um, and there were women entrepreneurs everywhere. I remember the woman who would make peanut butter from scratch. Now, I tell this story over and over again because I love peanut butter, y'all, especially Haitian peanut butter. It is a blend of spiciness and the smoky flavor of the roasted nuts, and it has salt, and it's just delicious. If you've never had Haitian peanut butter, go and find yourself some Haitian peanut butter. But she had her own business, and then there was this other woman who would sell a concoction of teas. That was her business. Haitians were very homeopathic, is that what you call it? And so we believe in natural medicines, and so the teas in the morning was a big deal for us to drink medicinal teas. And so she had her business of teas. There was the baker up the road. There was the one that sewed. I mean, surrounded by women. And as I grew up, I kept thinking, why were there so many women around? And as I started learning the history of Haiti, I started realizing that oftentimes the men would leave for whatever reason, whether they would go to a neighboring town to find work, or they'd leave the country like my dad did, or they'd go in a neighboring island, to find work. And the women would have to stay with the children to take care of the children. Some of the women left too, but oftentimes the men would leave first. And so they would be left behind to take care of the children and the elderly and so on and so forth. So I was surrounded by women, and I fell in love with women. My first love was my grandmother. I fell in love with that woman. She was a powerhouse. She had we would go into the villages, and she lived not village, in the countryside. She lived in the countryside, and that woman loved me. When I tell this story, my sisters laugh and they're like, yeah, you were spoiled, because I was the youngest at that time. And so that was my first love, y'all. She was my first love, my grandma. She just doted on me and took care of me, and I could do no wrong in her eyes. But my grandmother, she had a store in her little village, in her little countryside, in her little community. She had a store where she would sell Haitian rum. Yes, my grandmother sold rum, rice, and other products that people in the community need. And she was um, a fierce woman. I mean, she was a fierce and bold woman, but she was also caring. She cared for people in the community, and when she would cook, she would make sure people in the community got something to eat. She was very entrepreneurial, very much like I am. When people ask me where the energy for my entrepreneurial heart is from, it's from them. It's from those women that I saw growing up trying to make ends meet, and they would utilize whatever gifts, whatever talents they used to do something and to take care of their families. And that's what they did. And so, why women? Because of the example that I saw in Haiti, and women holding up the community when the men would leave, when women would do whatever it took to take care of their families, when women would show up to make sure that their children were well clothed, had the school fees, made sure their children got an education. That's why women, like, we will stop at nothing to make sure that our loved ones are well cared for. Um, Women will just make sure that everyone in their surrounding will be cared for. The other reason I believe I focus on women is because we have underestimated, the world has underestimated the power and the strength of women. We have not utilized women to our full potential. We have not allowed women to dream to their full potential. We have not given women the resources for them to flourish fully. So for me, I knew that when God had started calling me, or when I started listening to God and his calling on my life, I knew I needed to do something around the empowerment of women. I just knew it. I just knew it because what I saw growing up, what I experienced growing up, I knew I needed to do something around the empowerment of women. The other reason I focus my work on women is because women have been so disenfranchised, so traumatized, so denigrated throughout the history of mankind. Throughout the history of the world, women have been mistreated, disregarded, neglected throughout the history. And it's time. It's time for us to do better with women. So I study the traumas of women. I listen to the stories of women. And what I do is I help women find their way towards healing. I help women find their strength. I help women find their voice. I help locate their voices. so they can continue to elevate other women. That's why we call this YouTube podcast Elevate Life, so that women can elevate their lives, so they can elevate other women's life. And we create this ripple effect around community, around society, around the nations, around the globe, because we are empowering women. That's why. That's why. Women deserve healing. Women deserve to hear that they are worthy. Women deserve to hear that they are enough. Women deserve to hear that they have potential. Women deserve to hear that there's so much goodness in them. That's why I focus on women. So if you are here to listen to the stories of women, if you are here to listen to the trauma that women have gone through, if you are here to listen to the joy and the healing that women have gone through, if you are here to listen to women dream about how they are going to change the world, you are in the right place. Because that's what we're doing here on this podcast. We are going to listen to the stories of women. We are going to listen to the ways that women dream to change the world. We are going to encourage women to keep dreaming of how we're going to make the world a better place. So stay for a while. Listen to our stories, validate our stories, laugh with us, rejoice with us, dream with us, and give us resources. Make way for us. Make way for us, because we coming. We are coming. You will hear of women entrepreneurs who use their pain into purpose. You will hear of women business women who are doing great things in spite of pain. So stay for a while. Thank you for listening to this episode. Next week, we will have another dynamic woman to share of her struggles and how she has turned her struggles into purpose. Thank you. Share, like, comment, subscribe. Tell people about this podcast. Help us to continue to elevate women, elevate life, elevate one another, so that society can be better, so that our communities can be better, so that we can create a better place. Have a great one. See you next time. Bye-bye.